The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Welcome everyone who has taken the time to gather today. I'm Rena Sector Elbaz from Congregation Shaarey Zedek, and it's an honor for me to officiate at the funeral of Dorothy Livergant, known by her Hebrew name as Hadassah, Bat Yitzchak Verezel, who passed away July 15th, the 16th of the Hebrew month of Tammuz, beloved mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. May the memory of Hadassah, Bat Yitzchak Verezel, be a blessing. It's now time to take some time to reflect and think about the life of Dorothy, and I would ask that you would come forward now. You're going to speak. I want to put it here with
Sure.
easier, and I'll stand with you.
Okay.
I'm right here.
Okay. I didn't think it was going to be this soon. I did receive something at the just a few minutes ago from her family at Shalom Village that I just want to read at the end. These are Murray's words, her son, who unfortunately could not be here today. So this was written as much for him as for all of us. So these are his words, and there's a few changes. I think I can never say the words to... I think that I can never say the words to honor my mother properly, not because I don't speak so good, but because to articulate all that she did and what she was, that went unseen, unacknowledged, and too often underappreciated, is just too difficult to express. And of course, I'll honor her wishes and not comment on cooking or Afghan making skills. Born in Winnipeg as Hadassah, or Dassie as she was familiarly called and hated, she adopted using the name Dorothy when the family moved to Langham. Mom lost her mother, who would later be replaced by a stepmom shortly before her 9th birthday. Ironically, her daughter, Sue Ellen, was born 25 years to the day afterwards. While working as a nurse, she met the love of her life and courted while sitting on excuse me for the alliteration, sitting on a Coca-Cola crate in the custom cleaner's truck. My mother did not raise a family. She shaped a family and a home. I can't remember how often a comment, a gesture, or some words of wisdom, to me or a sibling diffused a difficult situation, a hurt feeling, a conflict, or helped solve what was a difficult decision. Arlene Leonoff told me at a family function that when she was living in Saskatoon, how much she appreciated watching my mother deal with us kids and try to emulate the behavior with her own. My God, I hope her kids didn't end up in prison. Our house, in retrospect, was not such a special house, but it was a very special home that she created with her guiding wisdom, such that we kids look at the home where we lived our childhood with tremendous nostalgia. And again, always behind the scenes and unacknowledged. Not only do we visit the home and annoy the current resident when we're in Saskatoon, but it appears we all use the 4-digit address as our PIN code. It's true. It's Stevens you want. At one point, I lost the one credit card I used and complained to Mom about having to use a debit card, and she explained to me how easy it was. You just put the card in the machine and push 2418. Again, she created the home while quietly taking pride in our accomplishments and feeling hurt in our pain. She was the smartest, the most clever, and certainly the wisest person in the room, and I don't think that she knew it. Mom wrote an unpublished children's book to rhyme about racial acceptance. It was a bit overt, but she was still way ahead of her time. She wrote a ubiquitous jingle to keep stores open in Saskatoon on Mondays, and one I believe from my Uncle Joe when he ran for City Council. She wrote words to "This Land is Our Land" for Saskatoon that was sung at a school assembly. These are the things that I know of, and regrettably she never got recognition for any of it. She was much too self-effacing for her own good. Her cleverness and humor were recognized and appreciated by those who'd listen, and I've heard comments from some of my older cousins who speak of my mother like an adored big sister. She made a group of friends that she could play her bridge or mage or pan with everywhere she lived, including her last 5 years in Hamilton. I remember visiting shortly after she moved into Shalom Village, and she was showing me around. And she would say hi and chat with so many people there that I commented on it. She said simply, "Everybody's looking for a friend." It was such a my mother comment. Mom would often say children are special, but grandchildren are extra special. And Lord knows how she reveled over those adorable great-grandchildren. No, Mom, swipe right, not so hard. I wish that her grandchildren would have known her better, although distance and time would not allow. But she knew them. Her insights into the grandchildren's characters would blow me away, as I was someone who was able to spend more time with them. You should know that your grandmother was the most honorable person I've ever known. She instinctively knew what the right thing to do was and would do it even if it wasn't the easiest thing to do. She knew when to make a comment, and she knew when to hold her tongue. To make a call or make a visit or invite someone for a meal or to show gratitude. I remember hearing the story of her driving around the block because she shortchanged the Bay parking lot 20 cents. When asked why she would continue to visit her stepmother in the Sharon home long after her stepmother recognized her, she would answer quite simply, "Because she has no one else." Mom never used the phrase, "You can't go wrong by taking the high road," but I know she lived it, and I try hard to emulate it. It makes difficult choices not so difficult. Mom was the last of the Selchin family from Langham. She's the last of the generations of cousins that hosted Hanukkahs and Pesachs growing up in Saskatoon. She's come full circle to where she was born and back beside her beloved husband, who she lived too many years without. The piece of real estate she had in Winnipeg that she kept reminding us she had. My parents must have fought. They must have argued, but I don't remember seeing it. Mom was so good at managing that Livergant temper. I know Mom and Dad adored one another and often saw and heard them being so fiercely protective of one another. I don't know what an afterlife is, but that they share this plot together, that they are united together again, fills me pleasure beyond words. There, I got through the whole eulogy about saying she was an incredible cook and an Afghan making machine. Your memory is a blessing. And if you don't mind, I just want to read. This was her life a little bit, and it's not long. And just what Shalom Village had to say, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to see, but oh, here we have it. So this is from Shalom Village. It's a wonderful picture at the Shalom Village Hustle, which was like a yearly walkathon in 2019. It is with great sadness that I announce the passing of our SV2 resident, Dorothy Livergant. Dorothy passed away Friday, July 15th at St. Peter's Hospital. Dorothy was born in Winnipeg and lived there and in Saskatchewan most of her life. Before marrying, Dorothy worked as an RN because it was either nursing or teaching back then. Dorothy had a wonderful, often sarcastic sense of humor. She was kind and loved to play the hostess and cooked for her guests. She loved to play cards and watch game shows on TV. She will be greatly missed by her 4 children, 7 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, and Shalom Village staff. Dorothy's family have taken her back to Winnipeg to be interned beside her husband. Rest in peace, Dorothy.
Is there anything else that you were going to say? I think there was another. Okay. I'm going to say a few words. So, I had a Zoom meeting yesterday with Stephen and Sue Ellen. And usually, a meeting under these circumstances, it's not a time to talk about frivolity. And in a very short time, we went from being three strangers chatting to an intimate discussion about the life and times of this very, very special woman. And it made me feel close to all of you, and lucky too, to have shared in some of these special moments of your life with your mom. That just thinking about immediately brought smiles to your faces. And I smiled too, because thinking about how you described some of these special moments you had together, it was very special. I love the story of the recipes, a little bit of this and a pinch of that. Truly the sign of a seasoned cook that you described and that you said you weren't going to talk about, but it's very special. Dorothy was known in Hebrew as Hadassah. She was caring and supportive spouse, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, but also a person in her own right with a career and hobbies that she was passionate about. And you described the gaming and things that she loved to play and the maj, and it also was a way to make friends. Hadassah is also the Hebrew for Queen Esther. And after talking with the family yesterday about Dorothy and the kind of person she was, I truly feel that the name Hadassah suits her. In the same way as Queen Esther, Dorothy was a rock to her family and her community. She's described as a stoic and strong woman with great love and concern for her family and the people who were important to her. As a registered nurse, she was a healer and had a key understanding of people and how to manage and to calm those around her. Her children describe her as sharp and extremely independent, and I was so impressed of how she was able to pick up at the age of 86 and move to Hamilton, where she made a life for herself and new friends, very much like Queen Esther, who entered a new environment when she left her uncle's home to go to the palace. Both she and Dorothy thrived in their new environments by connecting themselves with people and making meaningful friendships. I was honored to connect with all of you and to be able to celebrate the life of this wonderful woman, Dorothy Hadassah. Zichrona livracha, may her memory be a blessing for all time, and may her example of love help comfort and guide you in the years to come. The family would like everyone to know that they will be going back to the home of Mona Rich, 22 Nanton Boulevard, if I am not mistaken, and everyone is invited to join after the funeral. I'm now going to chant the El Malei Rachamim prayer, and then I will translate it into the English. El Malei Rachamim shochen b'maramim, hamitzem menucha nechona al kanfei hashchina, b'malot kedoshim v'tohorim, כזוהר הרקים מזהירים את נשמת הדס בת יעקב ורזל שלך לעולמה, בעבור שנדבות צדקה בעד הזכרת נשמתה, בגן עדן תהיה מנוחתה. לכן בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה, אדוני נחלתה, ותנוח משכבה בשלום, ונאמר אמן. O God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant true rest upon the wings of the Shekhinah, the divine presence, in the exalted spheres of the holy and pure, who shine as the resplendence of the firmament to the soul of Hadassah bat Yitzchak Verezel, who has gone to her supernal world, for charity has been donated in remembrance of her soul. May her place of rest be in Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. Therefore may the all-merciful one shelter her with the cover of his wings forever, and bind her soul in the bond of everlasting life. The Lord is her heritage. May she rest in her resting place of peace. And let us say, Amen. I'm just going to move slightly into the shade. We're now going to recite the Mourner's Kaddish on the little paper that I gave you. And everyone can join in. Please feel free to do so. Itgadal ve'itkadash shemei Rabah. Be'alma divera cherute ve'amlich malchute. Bechayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Israel. Ba'agala uvizman kariv vimeru amen. Yehe shmei Rabah mevorach le'alam ulalmei almaya. Itbarach ve'ishtabach ve'itfoar ve'itromam ve'itnaseh. Ve'itadar ve'itale ve'italal shemei dekudsha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata ve'shirata. Tushbechata ve'nechemata. Damiran be'alma vimeru amen. Yehe Shlomo Rabah min Shemaya. Ve'chaim tovim aleinu ve'al kol Israel vimeru amen. Ose shalom bin romav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Israel vimeru amen. Hamakom yenachem etchem betoch shar avalei Tzion ve'Yerushalayim. May the omnipresent comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. So we're now going to proceed with a very important part of the ceremony. This is one of the greatest acts of tzedakah because the person can't pay it back, the act of actually burying them. It's traditional and customary to do 3 shovels of earth using the back of the shovel because it's supposed to be different from regular shoveling, and then put the shovel back in the earth so that you don't pass the grief on to the next person. And we'll begin with the family, and then friends can partake. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this honor.